Okay, aloha kakahiaka kako, and welcome everyone to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and the meeting of its Board of Trustees. Let the record reflect that today is Thursday, August 13, 2026, and the time now is 10:05 a.m. Board Secretary, Lehua Itokazu, please confirm roll call with a attendance to establish quorum, please.
Trustee Ahuna.
Yo.
Trustee Akaka. Yo. Trustee Akina.
Aloha mai kākou.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza. Trustee Wahi'e is not here. Chair Kahele.
Present.
You have 8 trustees present. You have quorum.
Okay, this meeting can be viewed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/livestream and also on Olelo TV. For those joining us on Zoom, if you wish to testify on a specific agenda item, please follow these steps. Please raise your hand to indicate that you'd like to speak. We'll change your status from attendee to panelist when it is your turn. This may take a few seconds, so we appreciate your patience. As a panelist, you have the option to turn on your camera and unmute yourself to provide testimony, and once you have finished testifying, please mute yourself and you will be returned to attendee status. I'd also like to remind everyone to silence your cell phones at this time. And the chair would like to now recognize Keishan Kikina, our Chief Operations Officer, to the table to recognize key staff that are in attendance today. Morning, Keishan.
Aloha kakayaka kako, mahalo nui e trustees no ke Hawaii. This morning we have numerous staff with us in support of this meeting. So if I miss anybody, I'd like to apologize. But we have our interim administrator and CEO, Summer Silva. We have our Chief Financial Officer, Dhiren Patel. We have our Budget Chief, Grace Chen. Our General Counsel, Everett Ota. Our Senior Director of Strategy and Implementation, Elena Fardin, along with almost all of her team, to include Maki'ile Ishihara. Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs, Lāma Fardin. Public Policy Manager, Deja Ostrowski. Director of Research and Evaluation, Carla Hostetter, and almost all of her team as well, to include James, Kali, and Nathaniel. We have our Director of Communications, Lisa Von Sicona, our Grants Manager, Chantel Belay, our Director of Communications, Bill Brennan, along with Nelson Gaspar, and our IT Systems Engineer and Administrator, Marcus Parker. Mahalo.
Okay, thanks so much, Keishan. And here, representing the Board of Trustees, we have our Board Secretary, Lehua Itokazu, our Interim Chief of Staff, Alina Young. We have Kapona Kiokona representing the Board Council, as well as many other trustee aides and secretaries that are with us today. Thank you for helping prepare our trustees for today's board meeting. Trustees, the first item on our agenda is the approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Akina.
I move that we approve the minutes of March 5th and March 11th, 2026.
Can we get unanimous consent to approve both the March 5th and March 11th minutes in one vote? Okay. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to provide public testimony on the approval of the March 5th and March 11th minutes?
Yes, we have one person online. We have Pikachu Billionaire.
Okay. Morning, Pikachu. You are here. You are.
Hello, my kako, everyone here in OHA. Thank you all for being doing now. According to the minutes and agenda, Chair Kyler, I'm going to stick to the agenda. Hello. You know, I lost a race. It's very sad and depressing. Being all these meetings, it doesn't matter what you do, how many things you occur. So I want to encourage you guys to have heart and have faith. Is the minutes exactly what I said? Hell no. Is that approved? No, I don't approve it. Because we Kele Kina, Kalea Kaka, and everyone fighting with the lawsuits, they got dismissed. Let me sure the best Air Force veteran. I love you. I respect you guys, but you guys gotta handle your own stuff. And that's it. I'm gonna end this stuff and we're gonna keep on going. Thank you, peace, love you, aloha.
Lehua, anyone else signed up to on the minutes?
No one else has signed up to speak on the minutes.
Okay. Then let's do a roll call vote. Oh, you have amendments?
Yes.
Trustee Akaka.
For the March 5th BOT minutes, just wanted to include my comments regarding advocacy from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs as the lands are regarding in Maui and Haleakala or Crown and Government lands.
Just so we
Just
have it on the record.
summarized of it-
Okay,
summarized
do you have
part
the
of it.
page or that you wanted inserted into?
Yes. It would be during the discussion with Hina Nubo and Tiare Lawrence.
Okay. Lehua, do you? Okay, yeah, sure. Any other amendments to the minutes? No? Okay. Roll call vote?
Trustee Ahuna. Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Wahehe.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, we're moving on to the next item of new business. This would be the Alakaʻi Award recipients for the period of April through June 2026. Lehua, do you have anyone signed up to speak on this agendized item?
No one has signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, you know, the Alakaʻi Award program and the opportunity for the trustees to select staff nominated and peer nominated outstanding employee and supervisor of the quarter is something that we've been doing for about a year now, and it gives us a chance to recognize individuals who commit to the mission of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and who embody values daily through how they act, how they lead, how they make decisions. They provide inspiration to others around them, and they go above and beyond consistently in that quarter. And so I'm going to recognize Trustee Waihe'e to introduce our first Alakaʻi Award recipient, and that'll be followed by Trustee Alapa. And I want to thank Trustees Waihe'e and Alapa for going through the screening of these staff submittals, and I'm sure it was a difficult decision, but we have 2 outstanding honorees this quarter. So Trustee Waihe'e.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's my honor to recognize Carla Hostetter as an outstanding employee for her exceptional leadership. Thank you. Yep. As well as her steadfast commitment to OHA's mission and the positive impact she has made as Director of Research and Evaluation. Carla leads with a can-do attitude, professionalism, and genuine care for her staff, creating an environment where people feel supported, valued, and empowered to do their best work. She embodies kako by encouraging collaboration and shared ownership, aloha through her respect and compassion for others, and pono through fair, transparent, and thoughtful decision-making. She inspires kulia by encouraging innovation and trusting her team to take on new challenges, while her commitment to ho'omau is evident in the way she mentors staff, strengthens organizational capacity, and ensures that today's work creates lasting value for the lahui. Carla's leadership has also produced significant results for OHA. She championed the establishment of the Research Systems Program, helping build greater technical capacity through and organizational self-sufficiency, and she has provided strategic direction across a wide range of research initiatives and cross-PIA efforts. When additional leadership is needed, Carla stepped in seamlessly to maintain operations, support staff, and ensure important work continued without interruption. She has skillfully managed complex budgets, contracts, and project timelines, while empowering her team to take on greater responsibility, including the management of more than $1 million in contracts. From island community reports and organization-wide research requests to Native Hawaiian data book, Kipuka websites, and work related to Crown and government lands and the Public Land Trust, Carla brings both strategic vision and operational excellence to an incredibly diverse portfolio. Her leadership has strengthened the research and evaluation PIA, supported programs across OHA, and demonstrated the kind of integrity, collaboration, and commitment to excellence that makes her truly deserving of recognition as an outstanding employee for the FY 2026 Q4. Ladies and gentlemen, Carla Hostetter, once again.
Congratulations, Carla, our Director of Research and Evaluation. And before giving you a chance to say a few words, I'm going to recognize Trustee Lapa to recognize our next Alakaʻi quarterly winner.
Mahalo, Chair. Am I going to get the same music? Oh, there we go. Let's do this. Our next outstanding employee is recognized for exceptional dedication to OHA's mission, her commitment to the Lahui, and the way she embodies our values in both our work, in her work and her relationships. She approaches her kuleana with aloha, creativity, and deep sense of pono. She understands meaningful work is accomplished through kako, building pilina across Paia, collaborating generously with colleagues, and always acknowledging those who contribute alongside her. Whether developing curriculum, supporting communications projects, sharing her talents in Olelo Hawaii, music and storytelling, or simply encouraging those around her, bringing excellence and intention to everything she does. She strives to get things just right, not simply because the work requires it, but because she understands excellence honors our kupuna, our communities, and the people OHA serves. Perhaps nowhere is her commitment more evident than in her leadership of the revitalized AHA OPO. With few existing resources to build upon, she helped reconstruct the program from the ground up, planning, coordinating, developing content, and persevering through months of challenges to create a meaningful experience centered on our OPO. Even when circumstances were difficult and plans shifted, she remained focused on what mattered most, giving young people the knowledge, values, confidence, and foundation they need to become future leaders and pillars of our communities, of their communities as well. The success of AHA OPO is a testament to her patience, perseverance, and its impact will extend well beyond this year by providing a strong foundation for future programs. Through it all, Maki'ilei has remained humble, often stepping away from the spotlight despite the significant role she played. She's a thoughtful, principled, and inspiring Alakaʻi, and we are proud to recognize Maki'ilei Ishihara as an outstanding employee for FY 2026, quarter 4. Give it up for Maki'ilei. Let's go.
Well, on behalf of your Board of Trustees, congratulations for the outstanding performance this quarter. Just want to give you a chance if you wanted to say a few words. Start with Carla.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Board. Thanks, Trustees. You folks know I'm not for public speaking, so I'll just take a quick minute to thank all of our trustees, thank our amazing executive leadership team. The entire leadership as OHA has come together this year to really support the research and evaluation PIA. So any small contribution I made is really a reflection of that support, your guidance, your investment. Of course, the team, Keith and Kale and I make up one leadership team, so all of our success is each other's success. We depend on each other, leaning on each other's strengths. Shireen and Kristen have been with the organization 15, 20 years. They welcomed me to the PIA 12 years ago, and they've been steadfast in their commitment to this agency. I really feel like they're kind of the unsung heroes. They do all the background work, and yeah, their commitment to OHA is just an inspiration. And I think it's not realized, but those kind of individuals in our organization keep great people here. So mahalo to the team. And then also I have to thank the trustees for your investment this year in our research systems program. You really invested in building our internal capacity to be able to bring the technical expertise that we need through James and Nathaniel leading our Papakilo and our Kipuka databases. They not only have the technical expertise, but they also have a heart and passion to share, to arm our communities with great EK, great data, and to preserve it in perpetuity. So thank you, trustees, for your contribution in our PAIA, and hopefully we'll be able to make you proud with all the great work we do this year. Yes. Mahalo.
Thank you, Carla. Maki'ile.
Okay. Is that on? I think so. Okay, perfect. Firstly, mahalo nui. The success of all of us is well aware, and I want to first thank Keakua for leading us and guiding us. A solid team in S&I. Every single person came through, but not just S&I. AHA OPO was purely a success from all of the hands that were put to it, and I would be remiss to say it's absolutely never a one-person show. So thank you to every single person in the collective work that we've accomplished, that we've done, and the work that we have yet to do. Thank you for this privilege, and I wish all the names could be listed here on this award, but mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you, Maki'ile and Carla. And trustees, why don't we take a quick recess? We can go out and take a picture with them. We'll come back, reconvene the remainder of our agenda.
Can I also just
We always give a chance for trustees to say a few words. So, Trustee
Mahalo.
Akaka, go ahead.
Mahalo. First and foremost, Carla, I want to really acknowledge the many years of service that you've had here at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and the amount of love and aloha that you express, not just to those that work here, but also the beneficiaries, our Hawaiian people that you've been in service to all these years. And it's not lost on me in that immense aloha that you profoundly share in the work that you do. And Maki'ile, I want to mahalo you, especially for your time here, as well as your work in AHA OPO, as I have witnessed the amount of work that you put into AHA OPO, and I'm glad that it was also acknowledged the groundwork that you did with Kamele and so forth, Kapo'ona, in resurrecting this program into what it has become. And I also want to note as well, as it wasn't mentioned, that the OPO, without any asking or work with alumni advisors or so forth, came up with not just legislative bills, but also resolutions to acknowledge and honor those that they hold in high esteem. And that there was a resolution as well made in honor of Maki'ile. So I think that should be highlighted as well. So mahalo to both you, Maki'ile, and to Carla for all of your work, and Alakaʻi in your own right. Mahalo.
Thank you, Trustee Akaka. Trustees, anyone else like to say a few words? If not, I want to make sure before we take a brief recess to go take a photo with our honorees, do we have anyone signed up for public testimony on this agenda item?
Yes, we have one person online signed up. We have Pikachu Billionaire.
Okay.
Hello, my kako. Pikachu. I don't got my glasses. I don't got my hat up. I want to support everyone, the Alakaʻi, all the family, the Ohana.
And all this stuff. I know you guys are not fighting now. All the court cases got dismissed. But yes, approve all the people. We need to empower our own people through Hawaiian Kingdom, through the people, through nonprofit and stuff. So support all of you all. Please use this to help benefit our children and grandchildren because the adults are corrupt. Thank you all very much. I love you all. Aloha.
Lehua, anyone else signed up?
No one else is signed up.
Okay, trustees, let's take a quick brief recess. We'll go out in the foyer and take a photo and we'll come back. Mahalo. reconvene our agenda for today. And the next item on our agenda is an action item for the Board of Trustees. It's action item number 2611. This is to approve the formation of an ad hoc committee to develop an execution plan for the management and expenditure of trust resources appropriated under Act 032, Governor's Message number 1132, from the carry forward trust holding account and transferred to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs for the exclusive purpose of funding Native Hawaiian programs and services that address critical short-term needs in education, health, economic development, and community-based initiatives. The ad hoc committee work will be known as the Malu Project. Lehua, do we have anyone sign up to speak on this next agenda item?
Yes, we have one person. We have Pikachu Billionaire.
Okay.
Kelly, I appreciate what you guys doing. I understand the intention of the project, but I got to be sure to, as an Air Force vet and listen to an officer, the way you're coming across is that as an officer to try to give orders to the people, and I respect you as an enlisted officer. I should respect your orders and follow, but they're not following your orders. They're not following anything Commander-in-Chief POTUS Donald Trump is saying. So I appreciate the project. I approve the project. I support this stuff, but how can I say this easiest? Like if I was talking to your wife, you got to come up more cross and nicer. Because, you know, we got lawsuits, all this shit, got this, blah, 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 blah. But I appreciate you. I love you from a man, not a loving man, but, you know, from the other way. But hey, bro, just take a chill pill and see how you can absorb this. I understand what you want. I know what you need, but you can't get it done. But you got to figure out how it's worked out. That's all I got to say. Thank you. Peace.
Lehua, anyone else signed up to speak on this agenda item?
There is no one else signed up to speak.
Okay, great. No, it's not. It is now. Okay, thank you, Trustee Galatario. Okay, so the action item before the board has some really solid information, but from a, kind of macro perspective, this past legislative session, the state legislature passed Senate Bill 903, was passed by the legislature and was signed into law by Governor Josh Green on May 22nd, 2026, as now Act 32 of the 33rd Hawaii State Legislative Session. This bill did a couple of different things, and the bill is also included for our beneficiaries as part of the action item. But one of the things it did was it authorized a one-time appropriation of $55 million from the carry forward trust holding account. And this holding account has been established pursuant to Executive Orders 0606 and 2204. What the $55 million appropriation, one-time appropriation does is it has some directives on there by the legislature, and it is to meet the purpose of supporting Native Hawaiian programs and services that have critical short-term funding needs within education, health, economic development, and community-based initiatives. The appropriation is expressly prohibited from being used for funds as it would relate to planning, developing, or constructing residential or mixed-use projects or related infrastructure. There is no deadline for when the funds need to be spent by. There is no explicit directive of whether or not the funds that require the critical short-term funding needs need to be federal funds that might be reduced or in some cases eliminated from the federal budget. Many Native Hawaiian programs survive on year-over-year federal funding. It also doesn't distinguish between funds that are not, or programs that are not federally funded that maybe get funded by the state. And so it does give the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and this Board of Trustees some latitude in how those funds are spent. The funds were received on July 16th, 2026, where the appropriation was transferred to OHA's account. On July 17th, and in full transparency, this action item includes a copy of the check If you want to see what a $55 million check looks like from the state of Hawaii, that's on there. It also includes the deposit receipts. Check was deposited into Bank of Hawaii into an interest-bearing account. Interestingly enough, within the last month, the account has already earned $62,000 in interest, and this was as of August 4th. Today is August 13th, so it likely is a higher number by now. And the purpose of creating this ad hoc committee that will include 2 trustees, members of the administration, and it gives the ad hoc committee the opportunity to invite up to 10 subject matter experts from the community, from our Alakaʻi trusts, and from different skill sets to help advise the ad hoc committee on what it should do next as it relates to these funds. Because of the upcoming general election and the makeup of the ad hoc committee, the work of the ad hoc committee must sunset no later than November 2nd, 2026. It could be reconstituted by the next Board of Trustees that is seated for the 2027 year. But the idea is that this committee would come together, it would do the work that is required of it, and it would come back to this board no later than the end of October with some potential recommendations and suggestions of how to meet the legislative intent for this appropriation. It would also allow OHA to provide a required legislative report to the legislature. You know, this is a new biennium budget year, so there's a likelihood that the Budget and Finance Committee under Chair Waihe'e will be, bringing forth a proposed budget request to the state legislature. And part of that will also be the requirement to submit an annual report to the legislature that summarizes what the Office of Hawaiian Affairs did from when it received the funding to the end of the calendar year. The makeup of the ad hoc committee is Trustee Brickwood Galutaria, Trustee John Waihe'e. Trustee Galutaria will chair the ad hoc committee. Trustee Waihe'e will vice chair the ad hoc committee. It also includes Pony Askew from our Economic and Business Resilience S&I team. It adds Keola Fong for legal counsel and legal set of eyes. Includes Durin Patel, our Chief Financial Officer. Includes Summer Silva, the Interim Chief Administrator. And it also tasks Lawa'e Clayton to serve as the administrative assistant to support the ad hoc committee and Chair Galutaria. Because this is such a short timeline between now and the end of October, this ad hoc committee will need to get to work relatively quickly. That is the overall summary of the ad hoc committee. And I'd like to now recognize Summer Silva, our interim administrator, to speak to anything I might have missed in explaining the ad hoc committee to our beneficiaries and our trustees, and then we'll do a trustee discussion. So, Summer, welcome.
Okay, so yes, thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I also want to speak briefly in support of it, not simply as the interim chief administrator, but also as a proposed member, voting member of the ad hoc committee before you. You know, this is an important moment, I think, for OHA to demonstrate what responsible self-determination and self-governance actually looks like in practice. I think that at the heart of this funding and disbursement opportunity, that holds true. Our beneficiaries are facing a funding environment that is changing rapidly and in some instances directly threatening the continuity of programs and services they rely on. Federal reductions, delays, withholdings, and eliminations are creating real and immediate gaps for Native Hawaiian organizations and communities. And Act 32 expressly recognizes that circumstance and expressly gives OHA this one-time resource to help address critical short-term needs in all of the categories previously noted: education, health, economic development, and community-based initiatives. So we have both the opportunity and responsibility to be responsive. But importantly, I think this is not a choice between being responsive and being prudent. I think we can be both, meeting the urgent needs as necessary, while also exercising our discretion to preserve and strategically deploy funding as needs emerge. Not simply spending these funds, but determining thoughtfully, prudently, where and when they can do the most good for our beneficiaries. The Malu Project gives us a disciplined way to understand where the greatest needs are, assess urgency and impact, establish equitable criteria, and determine where these one-time resources can have the greatest benefit while preserving the board's ultimate authority over every single dollar. I also want to be clear about what this action does not mean. Our willingness to respond to this immediate funding crisis should never be understood as diminishing OHA's longstanding advocacy for the full and proper payment of the public land trust proceeds that are due and owing to this agency. We can and we must do both, respond to the needs of our beneficiaries today while continuing to advocate for the full annual PLT revenues to which OHA is entitled, notwithstanding the ongoing unjust statutory cap that limits their release. And respectfully, nor should our consideration of these Act 32 resources be understood to alter or diminish OHA's independent and semi-autonomous authority to determine how and when we discharge our fiduciary responsibilities. In fact, I believe the opposite is true. This is an opportunity to demonstrate that autonomy, to exercise our own judgment, establish our own processes, make decisions grounded in evidence and fiduciary discipline, and do so consistent with both the text and the spirit of Act 32. And our beneficiaries are watching. They are watching whether OHA can respond when resources are needed. They're watching whether we can protect the trust while meeting the moment. And they are watching whether self-determination means more than principle, that it means having the institutional capacity, the discipline, and the courage to govern ourselves responsibly. And that is what I believe the Malu Project can help us demonstrate. It allows OHA to be responsive without being reactionary, prudent without being paralyzed, and independent without losing sight of our obligation to work alongside rather than unnecessarily replace the responsibilities, the ongoing responsibilities of government and other funding partners. And for those reasons, I support, the administration supports this action item and the formation of the Malu Project. Mahalo.
Excellent. Thanks, Summer. All right, let's do discussion and questions. Trustees, Aquino.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Summer, and I really appreciate the emphasis on the fact that we're being watched. We have beneficiaries and indeed the entire community, and in this case, the legislature looking very carefully. And so I know that in terms of administering this, we want to achieve the highest standards of integrity. And so I have a specific question, and I'm sure the answer will be positive, but I just want our beneficiaries and others to know we care about this. You have outside advisors that will be involved. They include Native Hawaiian organizations, financial institutions, philanthropic organizations, federal funding and grant experts, economic development organizations, and other entities. I would imagine that the representatives of these various organizations are highly connected and that it's likely that funds would be considered in their sectors or even to their organizations. So I just want to ask, when will there be a report, if there will be, of what process is going to be used to ensure that there's no conflict of interest or that there's appropriate disclosure and handling of any potential conflict of interest? I know that that's our standard, and I would like as a trustee to be able to see the process and have a report on that.
Yes, so I will take the first stab at that. You know, the stakeholders contemplated to avoid conflicts of interest would be partners who are helping us frame and or co-fund some of these efforts. In other words, there have been preliminary discussions with significant institutions who are desirous of seeing their funding for this particular purpose leveraged by coupling with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and meeting the moment for our Native Hawaiian beneficiaries. I'm specifically talking about a number of elite trusts who have reached out with an interest to complement their funding efforts with ours. And those are the kinds of stakeholders, the people who are in service of community, who are in service of beneficiaries, who would not benefit directly from the funding that is being contemplated here, who will provide sort of the the informed landscape and representative demographics that are necessary to, I think, best meet the moment, ensure equitable and broadest reach, and allow for also enduring capacity building, not only in those organizations, but the communities that they support, no different than our efforts to create a framework that supports our own agencies' growing capacity. So I think if we mirror that kind of discipline, we mirror that kind of conflict of interest mindfulness, that we model that for the recipients. If we mirror self-capacity, autonomy, self-governance, independence, we model that for our beneficiaries. All of that is a reciprocal kind of relationship that I think is served well by the Malu Project concept.
Thank you, Summer. I appreciate that expression of our commitment. And may we expect to get a statement of our policy and practice with regard to assuring non-conflict of interest?
I think we can make that a priority of maybe one of the first deliverables or do-outs of the Ad Hoc Committee. The Ad Hoc Committee under this action item is directed to provide regular updates, and we can build that into potentially the first update. I don't want to speak for all of the committee members. I am just one voting member of the proposed committee and not its leadership, so I would defer to the timing of that announcement to the leaders of the committee.
Mahalo, that will be appreciated.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Thank you.
And thank you for your question. We appreciate it. Precisely why we got to get down to work.
Yes.
We have a timeline, and unless this board, orders us otherwise, hopefully we'll be able to pass it today. And I will convene something probably as early as next week with the members, the internal members. Now, in answer to your inquiry about community members, it started with a conversation that I had with Corbett Kalama at the Native Hawaiian Convention. I mentioned to him that we were in the process of developing partnerships, and would he be interested in developing a relationship with this particular committee, to which he responded yes. So that's the quality of partnerships we're looking for, people who are leaders in their particular areas. And if I'm not mistaken, he's the leader of Hawaii Community Foundation these days. So the Ad Hoc Committee is going to get down to work as soon as we okay it, hopefully today. And we'll have more answers to your questions forthcoming.
Mahalo, Trustee.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trustee Aquino. Other questions? Trustees? Trustee Akaka? Trustee Alapa?
Aloha, Summer. I'd like to know, is there like a backup plan if the committee cannot complete a rigorous framework by the November 2nd? Will there be an extension ask? What is the situation there at hand?
Do you want me to take it? Yes. So, I think that the mandate under Act 32 gives us no wiggle room to not come up with a plan that is dischargeable at the earliest possible time. The timeline that extends through November, I'm coming into this, my administrative support is coming into this wanting to beat that timeline because the needs of the community are urgent. The spirit of the contemplated act was that it be treated with that kind of urgency. And I think that, the framework around it, the number of partners willing and already expressing an interest to lend their in-kind services, funding, and expertise will help us get there. So in my mind, we will come up with a thoughtful plan and we will bring that proposal to this board, and this board will have an opportunity to modify or revise or send us back to do the work. But this is going to be the priority of our administration between now and that deadline.
Will there be intermittent updates along the way?
Yes, absolutely. It's provided for in this action item, so it's memorialized and any trustee can can request that those updates come both at the board table and in the intervening periods of time where you have the opportunity to schedule appointments with myself and any one of the voting members who are on staff.
Thank you.
Chair.
Yeah, Trustee Galatier.
I also want to make it aware to the board that, well, first of all, I'd like to thank Trustee Akaka for her lifting some of this at the legislature as well. So thank you for that. The act itself also has two other provisions. One is for it to extend the muscle of the working group for the public land trusts. So what it does is it brings in members from the legislature into that working group, and I want to thank our Chair Emerita for leading that working group over the years. Well, we're going to extend that due to the bill. Secondly, an inventory, a legitimate inventory that we can recognize will be put together. And then secondly, a consistent reporting formula for revenues derived from the Native Hawaiian lands, public land trust. That's the other two provisions in this bill, in this law now, that we have to abide by. And of course, there's the $55 million that we're going to dispense throughout the Lahui. Yet to be determined, but we're going to get to work right away. And I'd like to thank, I had a conversation with Senate President Ron Kulchi this morning, and he's very pleased that we're moving forward with this, well, hopefully moving forward with this action item. And earlier this week, I had a nice chat with Kirsten Kahaloa, who was basically the author of this particular bill. Any questions? Yeah, if you don't mind, Chair.
Trustee Aquino.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Trustee Brickwood. Forgive me, I may not have read carefully enough the action packet, but I think I just heard you say that legislators will be part of the working group. We're not talking about the committee being formed today.
No.
We're talking about something that is structured by the legislature itself.
Well, we're gonna lead the way, but the legislature is clear in this bill that it's going to be broadened. The working group's going to be broadened.
Okay.
And that actually helps us out too, because sometimes when we want the departments to move quick, they don't move as quick as we'd like. So it'd be nice to have some names on the working group that would encourage them to move quicker.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Chair Emerita.
First of all, this is not the normal practice of what we're used to seeing, in that we usually call upon our administration to make recommendations to the board. And I don't want to see this as a precedence of outsiders trying to make decisions on how OHA spend their money. Because we as trustees should know what our different communities need. And that should be our first priority, is to make sure that this money goes to our people. I can see different agencies or trusts or whatever you want to call them, seeing this kind of big money come into OHA and want to be part of that spending. But I do not want to see other people making decisions on the expenditure of this money, because we always grumble about that to the legislature when they tell us, oh, you folks can pay for this or you folks can pay for that. Well, nobody can tell us elected trustees how we can spend our money. It's up to us how we spend our money. So I think we should be very careful in letting outsiders be part of making that decision. Because once the ad hoc give us the report, who's going to say no on the table? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair Emerita. You know, I'll add some thoughts listening to everyone speak. So first of all, the Ad Hoc Committee may invite non-voting advisory participants. So it's really at the discretion of the advisory committee, and not just Chair Galutaria in his sole capacity, right? I mean, there needs to be agreement from the voting members of the advisory committee, and 4 of them are administration. 2 of them represent us and the board, of whether any non-voting advisory participants will be included. And so I think that gives the ad hoc committee discretion over whether or not any advisory committee members are invited to participate or not. So I would suspect that when Chair Galatera convenes the first meeting of the ad hoc committee as soon as next week, that they'll have that conversation on whether or not they should or not. To Trustee Alapa's question, you know, there's no doubt there are critical short-term funding needs for our people right now. We just can't sit on $55,662,000 plus and do nothing. And so it's possible, Trustee Alapa, that the ad hoc committee, depending on how quick it can get its initial assessment done, and that's a tall order because there's 11 weeks between now and the end of October. But it could bring an action item to this board for some type of initial tranche of critical short-term funding needs by the October 29th board meeting that is going to be in Hilo at Hilo. And so as a possible flag to put out there, you know, ad hoc committee members, you could bring an initial recommendation before the general election, because that's when this ad hoc committee will sunset, to say, here's a framework going forward, and here is how we've assessed we can help our people with a little bit of financial support, whatever that is. So just to put that out there, it comes back to this board for final approval, and ratification, and amendments and adjustments can be made too. So in terms of the timeline, it's pretty ambitious, but I like to see us going back to the legislature saying we did something. We got the funds in July. Thank you so much. Not just our legislative champions there. I don't want to name them. They know who they are. Governor for signing this into law. His department for moving within a few weeks to get us the funding. And that opportunity now for those funds to grow in our account. I mean, we could just the interest alone could help some of our lahui right now in our community. So I like us getting out of the gate with this, being proactive, and excited to see what the work is under our trustees and administration's leadership, and hopefully bring us a recommendation by our last board meeting of this board, October 29th in Hilo. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I want to pointedly address Trustee Emerita's comments, so that, one, we acknowledge that this action item both holds that concern about having decision-making authority and autonomy reserved for the board. So I made it a point in the proposed action item on page 2 of 7 to include this particular provision, which is a guiding provision for the committee members, that nothing in this action shall be construed to delegate, diminish, or otherwise limit the Board of Trustees' authority, discretion, or fiduciary responsibility to determine the ultimate allocation, management, timing, and expenditure of the transferred funds. Final decisions concerning use, allocation, retention, investment, or expenditure of the fund shall remain exclusively within the Board of Trustees and shall be the subject to such further board actions as the board determines appropriate. So that holding, that mindfulness has always been part of the contemplated process. I also, to our partners who have expressed an interest in working with us, there has been no other time more pressing than now to coalition build around our Native Hawaiian institutions. And this moment offers that kind of possibility, not just for institutions facing direct legal attack and desirous of wanting to create shelter and refuge and access to resources more readily for our beneficiaries. But when we work together, we also minimize the administrative burdens that those beneficiaries who have to apply for funds might encounter. In other words, if we're able to pool all our resources, we are not forcing our beneficiaries to apply to 5 or 6 or several different funding resources to fulfill their very critical short-term need. We are partnering, we are coalition building in order to be sort of one response, one united value system, helping our Kanaka and community. And that's the spirit in which the partnerships are being explored, not to supplant or to, diminish every individual organization's, personal and respective mission, but to find where the alignment is and leverage that to the best of our ability.
You want a question? Yeah. Chair Merida.
I basically want to say that I have every confidence in our administration to be able to make these recommendations to the board. And that's basically what I started off saying. And to have other people coming in is not something I really agree on. Thank you.
Trustee Hona.
So I just wanted to comment because I think we can make this thing work out. So one of the problems I think we have on the board is how we speak to the vote, or how we speak to how individuals get access this grant, or so after hearing like procedural, is there a possibility that we get information before we come to the board table so we can look at each one instead of come to the board table and have to go against each other? So I'm just trying to speak to everybody right now when he's talking procedurally, and somehow we can communicate to each one instead of coming to the board table and just firing back and forth. I just think we can make this work. We can all vote, yeah. I want to vote, yeah, because I believe in the community leaders that you guys have on the board. They're part of our communities, and yeah, their votes matter. Their communities matter, and I don't want to be the one saying that I'm the guy who should know everything, because I don't. I rely on these people too for our communities to make these decisions. But it's not who's making the vote. It's when it comes back to the trustees, how we make decisions, how we frame it. So I would like to hear more if it's possible or something.
Well, the answer to that is yes. We're going to bring whatever we do to this table, because it's all about process going forward. So we don't even have one. We need the board to say, go forward and get this thing done. Okay, so that's what we need. We need an okay so that we can start, so that we can bring stuff back to the board.
So what I was trying to say is I feel comfortable with moving forward. I just want to make sure that we all can feel comfortable in how we make these decisions. And it doesn't have to be about one issue or another. The issue is when we come to this to make our decisions, we don't want to feel like we got to fire back and forth at each other.
Yeah.
That's I think one of the key issues. If it's not, let me know, man. I mean, I can come to the table too. So thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Huna. Also add, when the conversations around this possible bill that became an act were being discussed, many federal programs were on the chopping block, during the beginning and middle part of the legislative session. And, Senator Schatz was able to secure $46 million in federal funding, at least for the next year, to help sustain at current levels programs with the University of Hawaii, with Partners in Development. But that next year appropriation is only guaranteed for the next year. And so, the next board, 2027, the next Congress that's seated, if there's changes that will be made in the federal funding for Native Hawaiian programs, this allows us to be postured to help support that. And so I think that's important too. And then, Trustee Galataire, you want to mention anything about Dr. Nogelmeyer and the naming of this as the Malu Project? And we mahalo his EK for that.
Puakea has always been helpful when we needed a handle of some kind. So I immediately reached out to him because this had to have significance on on what we're doing. So he came back with Malu as an option. And basically, Malu conveys the meaning of being protected, safe, or sheltered. And it pretty much reflects what we're trying to do here, you know. Now, what we're also going to be doing, and with the help of Summer, who is well-versed in the federal government system, being with DOI, she knows how to navigate that part. So we're going to access information from those offices too, on perhaps, you know, how we're going to move forward as well. So we're not diminishing in any way our authority. In fact, this is a way, I look at it as an opportunity for us to partner and say thank you, and we'll take your money too, but we got this one. Any other questions I can answer?
Trustee Akaka and then Trustee Lapo. Trustee Lapo.
So on that note, I wanted to know, is there any type of conflict of interest, disclosure, recusal rules that apply to committee members, the trustees, advisors, so forth?
None thus far. But, you know, if we identify it, we'll take care of it right away. Yeah. Trustee Akaka?
Wanted to take this moment to mahalo our legislators that have been key in making this happen, from the leadership on both the House side and the Senate side of the legislature, as well as the Hawaiian Affairs caucuses in both sides of the chambers, as well as the Hawaiian Affairs committees in the Senate and the House, and the Finance and Ways and Means committees, the various groups that made this possible, and all the way into conference time at the legislature. As I am aware that there have been some reservations in moving forward. However, collectively, the decision was made to support our Native Hawaiians when it came to the federal funding cuts, and very appreciative of them doing so and carrying forward on that. And also into having continued conversations before conference time, leading up to this, during conference time, and through the months up until last night with the legislators to get their mana'o, and also some of their feedback in terms of the speed in which we're going with this. As one of the continued themes I keep receiving is because this is emergency funding, that the intent for by legislators was to have it that this funding went immediately out to our community. So I also wanted to mahalo our federal partners, Senator Schatz and so forth, in being in communication with us and advocating as they have in terms of the funding, and also in talking with our Native Hawaiian organizations in terms of what their needs are, and how possibly this federal funding, without this federal funding, how they're not so positively affected by it, and how OHA perhaps can provide that, not just for the advocacy, but funding as appropriate as we can within our means. So with that said, I would like to see that this moves along fairly quickly, and as well as we can, and keeping in touch with our legislators as they collectively know with what their district needs, and the Native Hawaiian organizations within their communities. And I think that having also guidance by our federal partners and our delegation in terms of where the funding has been going, so we can fill in the pukas as needed, that would be expressively wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate that. I'd also like to add, it's highly unusual for something to pass with thumbs up from 25 senators and from 51 representatives. That's how this thing went pretty quickly. So we're not going to, this ad hoc committee will not be operating in a silo. We're going to expect, mana'o from the board, but we'll come back with things for the board to consider. Yeah.
Thanks. Trustees, any more discussion? Okay, hearing none. Lehua, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza. Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, thank you, trustees. Chair Galuteria,
Thank you.
get to work.
You gotta
Okay.
get-
Right on. All right, trustees, we're going to the next item on our agenda, which is a agendized executive session. This executive session will have the approval of executive session minutes in item A as well as item B to get an update from board counsel on the recent civil case that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs has been dealing with. Do we have any public testimony on this agenda item, Lehua?
Yes, we have 1 person online. We have Pikachu Billionaire.
Okay. Pikachu, if you are on, there you are. You're recognized. Aloha.
Thank you very much. I hear everything.
What I want to say, mahalo nui loa to everyone. You know, we're going through so much battles. I hate to see everything. And Chair Kyle, I know it's on the agenda, but I want to support everything you guys are doing. But I got fights with Auntie Blanche, with Waimanalo, all this stuff. You know, it's not on the agenda items, but our own people are out for our own people. And so the Heligi in Texas. So as you as a chair, I'm talking to you, Chair, because I ain't talking about other stuff. But we need to help settle this stuff. I mean, settle it down. We're in a war zone. Hey, we're gonna calm the wars down. I'm in the city office, okay? You can do that. I'm gonna say, Bob, I gotta talk to the troops. I'm gonna street style. We got war zones. We got lawsuits. All this son of a guns. We got to handle stuff. So yes, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna support you in this. I'm gonna keep it short. I lost the goddamn race. It's sad to me for all of you. I'm the #1 testifying of it, and all the candidates who beat me, none of them on your goddamn meetings. They never attend this year. I'm sad. I'm crying in my own heart and eyes. It doesn't mean.
Pikachu, please keep your testimony to the agendized item. Pikachu.
Yeah, there's a Gen item, but I'm gonna tell you guys all. You already got my emails. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. You all got the emails. I'm trying to be nice to all of you all. You seen it. So everything I did doesn't matter. It's the
Okay,
Hawaiian Kingdom.
thank
It
you.
doesn't matter.
Thank you,
And
Pikachu.
that's it.
Thank you. Lehua.
Yeah, I want to be.
Pikachu's
I
done.
want to be on the next item. I want to be on the next
Lehua.
agenda.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else signed up to testify on the agendized item?
No one else has signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, great. Then the chair will make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to HRS Section 92-5. Trustees discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
A'ole.
Trustee Akina.
Kanalua.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Souza. Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
And Trustee Akina.
A'ole.
Mahalo. I have 4 a'ole and 5 yes.
Okay, thank you. Let the record reflect that the Board of Trustees was prevented from going to executive session to approve its executive session minutes from December 18, 2025. Moving on to the next item on our agenda is item
Mr.
C,
Chair?
which is
Mr.
Chair
Chair?
Merida.
I'm just saying that I voted no because I've gotten numerous correspondence, both text and telephone calls, wanting this thing to stay open session. So I'm just sharing that with you so that you understand now that we are one board with one attorney, that this was mentioned as a desire of many of our beneficiaries. Thank you.
Chair Merida, we cannot vote on the executive session minutes from December 18, 2025 without going into executive session. Okay. 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 It's unprecedented is what I would say it is. New business is going to be legal matters, which will be a discussion and possible board action regarding the civil matter between the Office of Hawaiian Affairs that we've been dealing with and the appeal of the First Circuit Court's ruling of August 6, 2026. Lehua, do we have anyone sign up to speak on this item? Pikachu, sure.
I'm gonna move him over.
guys, even though I lost the race, I'm not a solution. But you look at the numbers and all these things. Why are you guys suing each other? And you look at the court case, you just dismiss each other. It's not in the sunshine law, HR's 92, blah, blah. I'm not trying to scold you guys for you guys suing each other using the insurance from the same stuff from the state of Hawaii. That's not what I'm calling about or testifying about, because I don't want you guys to spank each other. I mean, Stacey Ferrer or anybody else. Stop blaming each other, because we all look bad. You know how look we bad on the last Instagram, Facebook and stuff? We look terrible. Stop suing each other. Yes, it got dismissed, hallelujah, da-da-da for the chair and the vice chair, but stop hating each other. Because Summer Silva told me to get my Rule 513, I made no billionaire foundation, I got IRS approved. I'm gonna ask you guys for money for the own military barbecue for the military, but I have to wait for the IRS to give me the 501c approval. I might not get back by August 31st. I'm being honest with you guys. I lost the race, yeah, I take it. It's a big
Pikachu,
L.
please keep your testimony to the item on the agenda, item number C,
Yes.
please.
Well, thank you, Chair, and I'll just close it because I'll be on the next item. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair Kai.
Thank you. Lehu, has anyone signed up to speak on this agenda item?
No one else has signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, great. All right. At this time, we're going to take up the agenda item number C, and the chair would like to call Paul Alston to the board table. If Paul is here. We'll take a quick recess before Paul can be located. As well as Everett Ota, OHA's General Counsel. And the item on the agenda, Paul, is to discuss, obviously this OHA and its trustees appeared in front of, and as well as Summer, appeared in front of the circuit court last week.
Right.
There were significant rulings that were made by Judge Nichols. And one of those rulings was to not grant OHA's request to compel arbitration.
Correct.
And so the discussion in front of the board, which the chair would have preferred to do an executive session to give you the opportunity to discuss privilege and confidential information with the trustees, as we have done many, many times. Unfortunately, we can't do that because we're denied the opportunity to go into executive session. So I realize your discussion with us can only go so far. However, the agendized item before the board is to give the board an update on the judge's decision, how that potentially affects this particular case, and whether or not OHA should consider appealing that decision to compel arbitration. And I thought you gave a very compelling argument on and a pathway of why OHA, as a independent branch of government in Hawaii and under Hawaii contract law, gave a very compelling argument about why arbitration was the right vehicle for this dispute between employee and employer. Judge Nichols disagreed, and here we are today. So why don't you give the board an update to the max extent that you can legally possible?
I will. On the issue of arbitrability, what the court found was that the contract, which was drafted by Justice Klein some years ago, was not broad enough to encompass the claims that Ms. Ferreira has brought in court. He was relying principally on the fact that the remedy provision in the contract said that the arbitrator could award contract damages, but did not appear to give the arbitrator power to evaluate and award any remedies based on statutory claims, even though the Hawaii Supreme Court has taught us that such statutory claims are within the scope of a broad arbitration clause, which he found this was. When a judge denies a motion to compel arbitration, it can be appealed immediately, and the result and the underlying case is stayed pending the appellate court's determination of whether arbitration should have been initiated. But an appeal is not required at that time. It's possible to appeal, it's possible to refrain from appealing and then simply hold that card in reserve until the proceedings in court are concluded, and then appeal on the basis that whatever the judge did was wrong and it should have been sent to arbitration. If an appeal is to be taken, it has to be done within 30 days after the entry of the court's written order. The court has not yet issued that order, so the clock has not started to run on the 30-day time period, and you don't need to make a decision today, next week, the week after that. You've got probably a month and a week or so to make a decision about this. And I'm not going to ask you to make a decision today because there are pros and cons that I think need to be addressed. It can only be addressed, frankly, in an executive session where I give you my unfiltered advice and recommendations. I think as a prerequisite for having that discussion, if we can hold it in executive session, would be a memorandum from me covered by the privilege that I can distribute to all the directors, or all the trustees, excuse me, and to Ms. Silva. And then you can decide in the weeks ahead whether to go into executive session to discuss that, or whether you don't need an executive session. But being mindful of the Sunshine Law, obviously no more than two of you can get together to talk about it, either in sequence or simultaneously. So what I would recommend today, excuse me, what I'd recommend today is we defer this discussion till after you see the memo discussing the pros and cons, and then we can come back and then consider again whether to go into executive session. Okay.
Any trustees, questions for Paul? Trustee
Yes.
Keon.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate the presentation you've made. And my question is not about the substance of the judge's decision, but just a clarification about the relationship. What's the relationship between what's the impact of arbitration on what the judge ordered, which I believe was mediation? How are these two related?
Well, okay.
Thank you.
The mediation that the judge ordered was not mediation under the contract, because Ms. Ferreira's contract calls actually for a three-step dispute resolution process. You start with internal discussions, then if those fail, you go to a mediation with a mediator who has power to bring the parties together for a period of 8 hours. And if that fails, then you go to arbitration. The judge ordered mediation in our case for next year because every case gets ordered to mediation at a schedule convenient for the court. It has nothing to do with the contract. It just has to do with the court's routine process for trying to get cases settled before trial. And the recognition that the judges themselves don't have the time to devote that a mediator would to try to bring the parties together. So nothing about what the judge ruled last week speaks to anything that's required under the contract, other than it doesn't require arbitration. We didn't ask the court to decide whether mediation would be required under the contract. And it's sort of immaterial at this point whether it would.
Thank you.
Yep. Trustee Wahi.
Paul, I have a hypothetical question, but it relates to it. Is arbitration something that can only happen if it's in the person's contract?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There's no other way to make it occur if the employee does not have that in their contract?
Parties could agree to arbitrate.
Okay.
But arbitration cannot be forced on anybody who hasn't signed something in writing saying that they will arbitrate. And here, as those who were at court last week understand, the judge said, I see this arbitration clause. I see the language that limits the power of the arbitrator. And based on everything I see, I'm going to say that the arbitration clause isn't broad enough to encompass these particular claims. So I won't comment here about whether I think that's right or wrong. Obviously, we argued based on a Hawaii Supreme Court case that when you commit to arbitrating any claims that arise from or refer to the contract, that encompasses not only contractual claims, but also statutory claims. And in that other case, the Supreme Court said that because Hawaii law is incorporated into a contract, when you agree to arbitrate contract claims, you also agree to to arbitrate claims that are based on a statute. The judge disagreed because of the limitations on remedy, as we heard. So, if we were to appeal now, the case would be stayed for a couple of years while we waited for the Intermediate Court of Appeals to decide. If we go forward, we would go forward on a faster track, as you know, because the judge has set a trial date. But the right to appeal remains open.
Trustees, any other questions? Everett, anything to add to what Paul said? Obviously our carrier is involved in this as well. I'm not sure if discussions with the carrier, based on, Paul's future memo would include, the carrier weighing in on appealing versus not appealing and.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, trustees. We have been updating the carrier as recently as earlier this week. We notified them of the court's oral ruling after Thursday's hearing, so they're aware, and we've had a discussion with them after that. But they're currently waiting to see the more formalized written record of the proceedings, so either a hearing transcript or the written order, which, as Paul noted, is pending. So they're still kind of reserving their final or future actions until they see those written documents.
Okay. Anything else? Trustees, questions? Okay, so Paul, let us know when the written record order is filed. 30-day clock. We have, currently scheduled dates in September and October when we could come back to address this. In the meanwhile, you'll prepare a written memo with the pros and cons of the potential board decision to appeal or not appeal.
Correct.
You would be able to share that confidential memo, but that would have to be an executive session.
No, I think I can send
You send the memo.
the memo directly to each trustee.
Okay.
And still preserve the privilege.
Okay.
All right, we've done that in the past, and I think it's effective. Okay, so everyone will get more information that I can share in this open session.
Sure.
And then hopefully we can get into an executive session and discuss openly the pros and cons of the alternatives.
Trustee Aquino?
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. So you will send a memo directly from you as counsel
Yes.
to each of us, and that will not violate confidentiality privilege between client and attorney.
That's correct. I can communicate with each of you. The sunshine law limitations are on you talking to each other, not on your lawyer talking to you.
Thank you for clarifying that. So
Okay.
your communication to us
Yes.
will not be a violation of sunshine law.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. You know, and the important thing to note is one of the things Judge did last week was to dismiss all the trustees in their both individual and official capacities, so that all we are down to is Stacy Ferreira versus OHA as an entity. And so it's much simpler than it was last Wednesday, but cleaner, and I think hopefully that clarity or that simplicity will enable the board to move forward with the case.
Great. It's a good thing, right? We mahalo Judge Nichols for that. I'm sure we all feel the same way.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, thank
Everett.
you.
And we are moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is community concerns and celebrations. Ehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak under
Yes.
community concerns?
Yes, we have one person here in person. We have Louis Pelekai.
Okay. Welcome.
Funny meeting. I call him and I talked to you one time. Yeah. Well, my name is.
Louis, come sit here. This side.
Louis, Mr. Louis, can you sit on
yeah.
the other chair?
Yeah, I'm a couple.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
We'll just bring this closer.
Okay, turn that off.
So thank you for joining OHA,
Mahalo
our community
for-
concerns.
Mahalo for inviting me.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm here, I read in you guys' newspaper, Mauli Ola, and on the third page, it shows our kapuna imagined something extraordinary. It was done by Silverware, and it was a good story, right? And I feel, because I'm a kapuna now, but when I got my homestead, I was young yet. And that was 45 years ago. I still not on. But as my time went by, right, I went to school and I graduated from Waianae, 1962. I live in Nanakuli, Makaha side, and I learned a lot of things about, Hawaiian, and all my family are Hawaiians, right? My grandpa from Hana Maui, my grandma from Big Island. Yeah. And they taught me a lot of things about Ohana, right? Ohana is things that when you brought up, your parents teach you, right? Teach you right or wrong, or you get leaking, right? You better do them now, or well, you don't listen, you get punished, right? But the part is that you learn from that, right? You learn how to work, right? I was 60 years old, I was selling newspaper, Kamiki, right? Because I had to go help my family. And when I helped them, somehow I get used to about working, right? When you work, you're not lazy, right? You get used to, right? And that's the time I grew up. I started learning, working Wale golf course was a caddy. Te Makalena, right? And I tell myself, see, Louis, you're not lazy. I go home, I take care of my family, my brothers and sisters, because my mother, she had to work we had 7 in the family, right? And one, supposed to have 8, one maki, the rest. So I had to bear them the kanyoe. But as me, being in this story is what you guys doing. You never had OHA, right? And you give them good question, where the money going, right? When I heard you, and that's the reason why I'm here, because when I read this up here, see, my job for right now is I'm a plumber, right? And I can ask you the same thing that you ask yourself, what's the purpose? What's the purpose to being a plumber? I tell my students, I'm an instructor at community college, how many years? Right? I teach the children, the kids, as they grow up. What's the purpose? There always a purpose for everything. And the purpose of plumbing is to protect, number one, the health and welfare of so anything I do, I'm a licensed plumber. I worked 5 years, I got my license, right? I graduated at 20, and then when I went to work on the field, right? I was taught by Hawaiians, they live Hawaiian, and 3 brothers, right? 3 brothers teach me, and I was happy. We made housing in Hawaiian, and I stood there for squeeze lunchtime. And then being on me and driving up the truck, everybody happy. But I love Hawaii so much. Because the way I was brought up is you gotta take care, right? You know, take care of your family, something will happen. Or they move out, like my son now, they live in Vegas. Mauli's boy, same thing like me. He got fed up waiting. So he took his grandchildren, he moved everything. And he give one house now, right? But it's not that, it's that the story that I give into you about me is that I waited so long. Yesterday I went down to Kapolei. I still waiting. I never get on my land. 45 years. What's happening? I went and they give me all kind of this, that. Now they say they have land, but the reason why, because I'm in construction, I wanted to give you guys vote for me, building for build, like, you know, like the state, where the guys learn how to electrician, plumbing, and whatever. It's not only that, and plus the health, because right now, my health is getting bad. I'm 82 now, right? I'm worrying about my wife, what can happen after when I'm gone. Yeah. And then I believe that I'm trying to help. I go to OHA many times, I talk, but the party said, now when this thing came out, that will give me somebody listening. Because they say, kupuna. That means I'm a kapuna now. But when I went into plumbing, I was young, right? 1962, I graduated from Hawaiian. Then I was working door cannery, right? I learned my everything from working the places like that. Then I had my friends who graduated from me from Hawaiian. They was plumbers. They got me in. And then I came in. When I graduated, all the years I've been building houses, high-rises, right? That has so much, how I say, they get the way you give them to the kids. I give them and they learn as they grow up, right? But you need money now, right? You need money to build a building, to teach them. You need a lot of things. And you guys, when I read the story, I wanted to come here earlier, but I never know where the meeting was. But it's for me, and I call and get answers, but nobody call me back. But now I'm here in front of you, My story is that I'm not begging for nothing. I just want to, what you guys say, what you guys do it, right? Do it and try to help out the kapunas and the children growing up. If they can get one job, I can teach them. For now, I can train teachers to teach plumbing. It's not only plumbing. Hawaiian children, where they do it? When they finish school, they graduate, they go on there. They go to college. Like my son, he went Kamehameha, my youngest one. But you know where he stayed now? Vietnam. He married to a Vietnam girl. Stay good. I mean, we're losing, you know, and now Kamehameha is something else going. They open where anybody can go. You don't have to be a Hawaiian. But we're giving away our aina and like, you know, as for me, when I leave this world, I want to tell myself, I did my part. You guys did. You guys did your part. And I'm proud of that. I clap for that. I throw penny lays over you after. But got to be primary. Because my mother, in her land, she ain't none of cool. Grow up all primary, all yellow one. And every time when I could see her down the beach, every year on her birthday, I tie all the ladies together and throw them out. She float down and go back one night. And get them. And he wouldn't believe it. I don't know why. I think she's a turtle. Because the turtle come up in Kewalo. And they come by her leg. So, but you know, it's in me, because I feel that the Hawaiians need help. You guys help me. You guys invented it. And this is what we need. You know, what's happening now in the world is everybody killing each other, and only Hawaiians fighting against Hawaiians, you know. Yeah. We are the people of Hawaii is not like anybody else. Yeah. We're not out for money. We just live peacefully, enjoy Hawaii, and that's what I try to do. I try to give back, and the only way I can give back because of what I did is, you know, see, we can build some school where we can teach all kind of trades, right? And plus medical. I get family in Kauai. My mother-in-law passed away. We had to bring her up here because no more nothing in a specialist. Plus the ambulance take long time.
Can you please summarize?
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But for my that's all I really came here for, and I can know that I just up here. If you guys need anything, you know, right? Another thing, don't call toilet. It's a name for water closet. Toilet is a scan, whether, you know, but it's not the real word. And not you owe me $1.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for reading our Kawai Ola. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Lehua, anyone else signed up?
No one else has signed up.
No one else signed up. Yeah, yep. Okay. Celebration or announcement? Up to you. What'd you like them to be? Okay. Okay, so no one else signed up for community concerns? We're good? Okay, we'll take it. All right, so let's go to announcements. I got a bunch of announcements, but I will recognize Trustee Alapa first for her announcement.
Okay, mine is really quick. So for everyone, we have a new kane, especially amongst the board suite, that I would like to introduce you folks if you have not already met him. He's a graduate of Kamehameha Schools and the Oregon State University with a graduate degree in bachelor's administration. He's a tech nerd, or I'm basically passionate for technology and history and its contribution to modern society. And I'm so glad that he's here. He is so happy to be here to help serve our Hawaiian community in any possible way. And I'd like for you folks to please give a warm welcome to Kingston Seguanchia, my trustee aide. Mahalo.
Thank you, Trustee Alapa. We do have one more community concern signed up. And it is none other than Pikachu, billionaire. He has raised his hand, and so if you can bring him on. Pikachu. Shelby.
Hello, Michael. Can you guys hear me? Chair, Kaikale, and all the trustees?
Yep,
That's good?
we got you loud and clear.
Okay, we're going to community concerns. So yes, you guys already seen my email. I don't want to say it publicly, but yes. So because we have a lot of stuff going on in the Hawaiian Kingdom, and I'm not going to go the whole 5 minutes, probably 3. So I filed a little lawsuit, not against OHA, so don't worry, Kaikale Chair, you can relax. Because I can only address the chair, I cannot address the trustees, according to HRS Sunshine Law, HRS-92. So I'm not filing against you. I'm filing against making the ballot unconstitutional based on, not my ballot, not your ballot, based on HRS, the Hawaii Constitution, Article 2, Section 4. So you read the Constitution made in 1978, before I was born. I'm born in 1982. Well, let trustees know. You guys were probably alive. I don't know. But in 1978, it says you cannot be forced to choose a party. According to the 1970 Hawaiian, I'm not saying Hawaiian Kingdom, I'm not saying KL, Punio, Kovai, Paina, like we see our people say. No, this is the Hawaii State Constitution, the Kankan everyone talks about, as Kalea Kaka trustee knows. This is the same thing your father fought for. It is true. So how come if N can only vote for N, meaning I had to vote for Bula Ia, being everyone knows as a OHA, person, you have to be a nonpartisan. We're not going to be in a party. But when you choose, if only N can vote for N and have to use for the front and the back, how come D, L, R, G can vote for us? And that's how we lost. And I want to look at the numbers. None of the candidates, and this is my community concern chair, I'm only talking to you, not to everybody else, is that none of the other candidates are here. They don't report. So everything I did, everything I worked for, it doesn't matter to the younger generation. That's how I'm concerned. For your daughters, for your kids. So it doesn't matter what, I'm in my 40s. I'm younger than you, all of you guys. I give that respect. But if you can't even get me to get the job for free, bro, how do you expect your kids to succeed in life? And we're talking about $853 million. We're talking about, they need to know money, they need to know math. And that's why I'm sad, Chair. I want to see your kids succeed, but I'm also scared of human trafficking and drug smuggling. Because I lost the race, my concern is that your interim summer facilitator, Pikachu, we want to help you with OAH to make the military barbecue to do something with them, with Nāma Kukui. Yeah, I'm willing to do that. And I started a nonprofit, the Billionaire Foundation. We don't got the IRS nonprofit status yet. I just filed it last month, even though I lost the race. So I thank you all. But please work together. Please stop fighting. I saw the lawsuits. That you know what my community concerns are. Jermaine Myers in there. I'm not going to rid you guys on that, but please try to figure a way to work out together. I'm not even going to be in a race, hallelujah, but please figure it out way together. Mahalo nui, that's it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Pikachu. Lehua, anyone else signed up?
There is no one else signed up.
Okay, all right, we're moving on to last item is our announcements. Trustee Lapa already made her announcement. Do we have any other announcements, staff? No, I get like 1 hour of announcements, so you go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to mahalo our staff for the work they did at Kako OEV last week Friday in He'eia, full ahupua'a, Crown and Government lands, and want to also mahalo the advocates through the generations that have made all that possible, from Auntie Rocky Kaluhiva and her ohana, her kane, Auntie Mahealani Cipher. Also want to mahalo Uncle Aaron Mahi for shedding more light on this for me over time, and OHA's Kuike and his Ohana for their constant advocacy regarding this ahupua'a and lands down there in Hei'ia. And want to mahalo Kaneko and his crew down there for welcoming the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and being able to see firsthand some of what they have going on over there. And I also wanted to share through announcements as this meeting has continued, I'm seeing news reports coming in as well as a press release coming out of the governor's office of the announcement of the Department of Navy initiating the return to the state lands consisting in Kalailoa of Oahu as well as in Ho'olehua, Moloka'i. And as that's being initiated, that the input of stakeholders is essential, which includes the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And I think that it's crucial that we continue the advocacy when it comes to the return of our Crown and government lands that is in use by the military, and including those lands that are being used for recreation that no longer need to be under their jurisdiction, and as well as continuing our advocacy in Crown and government lands that include those that were taken by executive order. Mahalo.
Thank you, Trustee Akako, for that. Chair Merida.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to advise the trustees that I will be testifying tomorrow in Maui on the county's position on the East Maui water irrigation. DLNR is recommending Mahipono, and I'll be opposing that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's really important. And, you know, for those that watched the previous board meeting, this board has taken a position on that. So the land board tomorrow is going to be making a decision, taking public comment on DLNR's staff recommendation.
Yes.
To issue a 30-year lease to Mahipono for about 88 million gallons per day of water from the East Maui watershed, rather than utilizing the County of Maui's, you know, community-driven water
maintenance and operations.
The community panel that it had created, advisory group. So OHA has taken a position to support the County of Maui.
Yes.
And I know our interim administrator submitted and our advocacy team submitted testimony this morning on that. You can also sign up to provide public testimony. It's a very important land board decision that might be rendered.
So I'll be there in person because they are going to be in Maui.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's great. Thank you for reminding our beneficiaries of that. And on that note, there's an article today in the Advertiser front page that the land board is going to be also having a similar type of public hearing and taking testimony on the potential issuance of commercial aquarium collection permits and reopening that. I think it potentially is around August 28th. Obviously, this board has taken a position on commercial aquarium collection in Hawaii, you know, and also our civic clubs, and I think now almost every county throughout the state has taken a position on this, opposing the, you know, reissuing of commercial aquarium collection permits throughout Hawaii. So another really important decision faced not just the people of Hawaii, but our lahui coming up in front of the land board. So mahalo for that. Anyone else? Okay, let me run through a few announcements here. The next standing committee meeting day will be on Wednesday, August 26th, 2026. This would be for our BNF, ILM, and BAE committees. The next Board of Trustee meeting is set for August 27th, 2026, and we're planning to have a military lease lands technical advisory group update, and also presentations on two recent reports that were issued as it relates to military impact and training in Hawaii. One was done through a collaborative effort by Brown University. The other was recently published by the ACLU. So we will be hearing from not only those presenters, but also from our technical advisory group members. One of the things we just did earlier this week was have a chance to go to Kaho'olawe, and we want to mahalo the Kaho'olawe Island Reserve Commission, led by Mike Naho'opili and his team, along with the Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana, Daviana McGregor and Craig Neff, who joined members of our technical advisory group and myself and a few of our administrative staff that had a chance to go to Kaho'olawe and had an incredible experience earlier this week. The advocacy team will be presenting a military lease lands community briefing at Lelehua High School on Tuesday, August 18th at 6 p.m. So I encourage our beneficiaries, especially those in the central Oahu area, to attend that briefing. And mahalo, Trustee Ahuna, you went to the North Shore Military Lease Lands Community Briefing a few weeks ago, so thank you for attending that. So that'll be at 6 p.m. on August 18th at Lelehua High School. OHA's traveling beneficiary services on Moko Kiawe, which we've been doing for over a year now, will be at Pahoa on Wednesday, August 19th. The Molokaʻi Trustee Alapa community meeting, site visit, and board meeting is September 17th and the 18th, so looking forward to going to Molokaʻi. The Hawaii Island site visit, community meeting, and board meeting will be on October 28th and 29th. And the OHA Board of Trustees will be spending half a day at Navahi'okalani Opu'u on October 28th, followed by our community meeting at UH Hilo at Haleolelo on the evening of October 28th. And then our board meeting will be on Thursday, October 29th, which will likely be the last board meeting before the November general election. The search for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs next administrator, chief executive officer is currently occurring at this time, and we encourage applicants to visit OHA's website, oha.org, scroll to the bottom, click on employment opportunities, and that will give you a link to the current job description as well as leadership profile. Kumabe HR Services is handling the executive search, and you can also visit the Kumabe website and look at executive opportunities to learn about the job description and leadership profile. And we encourage applicants to meet the early application window, which would be September 4th, coming up in a few weeks. Congratulations to all the candidates. Congratulations to all the candidates that ran for office, especially those that ran for OHA at-large trustee. Congratulations to the 6 that moved on to the general election. And on the general election ballot will be our at-large, where we will elect 3 trustees, as well as our Oahu and Maui trustees. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs will be hosting general election candidate forums for all 3 races that will broadcast statewide the week of October 12th. And we mahalo everyone's participation in the unique opportunity to feature the OHA candidate trustees on the general election ballot. Next week, August 25th, will be the services for former OHA administrator, OHA trustee, longtime advocate at the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center, as well as a fierce advocate for Native Hawaiian rights and issues, Kamaki Kanahele. That will be at St. Andrews. The opportunity to pay your respects will begin at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, including myself and all trustees, as well as staff, are encouraged and welcome to attend by the family. Finally, the OHA, this is for internal staff, but both on the admin and the board side. Performance evaluations for this calendar year for quarters 1 through 3 and quarter 4 are due by tomorrow to Human Resources team. And this is an opportunity to sit down with our staff and the directors to engage with their PIA staff, and our trustees to engage with our own individual staff to evaluate their performance and to help them grow in their career fields and give them solid feedback. Those are due tomorrow to Human Resources, and that will allow our Human Resources team to then apply the appropriate merit-based pay increases that went into effect on 1 July, the FY27 fiscal year, and that is expected to be implemented in September, if not latest by early October. That's all the updates that I have and announcements. Anyone else have anything?
Chair.
Chair Murray.
We haven't met this HR director.
Oh, she here? Not here at the moment. Okay. You want to say a few things about our HR director, Keishawn? Is our COO?
Hello, trustees. Yeah, so Leslie Chin did join our team. She is serving as our HR director, and she comes with a wealth of experience to include experience with the labor unions, and we're very happy to have her. She is hitting the ground running, of course, as we all do when we join OHA. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of things to catch up on and actually get a hold of, and she's been working diligently to do so. She's also been getting closer to our team. She joined us on our Aina Day in Heia, so that was her first opportunity to engage in one of the Aina Days that we do quarterly. Yeah, mahalo.
Thank you. Yeah, so if you haven't had a chance to meet Leslie, we'll encourage her to be proactive and reach out to all of you. I know she's probably been busy, not just getting onboarded herself, but also tackling the challenges that are in the HR department. And Aina Day was good. We're going to have one more Aina Day?
Yeah, the Aina Day was very successful, and I mean, it was a lot of hard work, and I think, you know, engaging with the Aina, it provides a lot of different ha'awina. It provides a ha'awina and a lesson for everyone that attends that, and it's been very beneficial, and we're actually circulating that survey as well, so those results will be coming out in the coming weeks. And there will be an additional day. We are looking at consolidating some of the things that we have planned, and we can discuss that at a later date as well.
Great.
Mahalo.
Yeah, thanks, Keishawn, for, you know, like to Trustee Akaka's point, you know, Lawa'e, Royce, the ops team, to pull off the Aina Day. It's a big effort to take OHA out into community and all the food and all the setup and the safety protocol. So thank you for doing that. And this, if we do one in October, will be our fourth Aina Day in 2027.
Yes, definitely. Mahalo, Chair. And the Aina Days, there are a lot to, you know, produce. A lot of hands go into that work, the prep work, the communications, the securing of dates. Those dates are actually secured a year in advance. So that's when we communicate them, and, you know, we try to accommodate certain areas, ebbs and flows of the operations in order to ensure that, you know, work can still be completed and it's not as disruptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mahalo.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else, trustees? You know, this is August, and it seems like December is a long ways away, but it's not. And there's so much to do between now and an investiture and, you know, giving thanks and celebrating the holidays with our family, both our internal family, Ohana, and our external family, Ad Hoc Committee, elections. There's a lot of work to do on the table. So thank you all for your commitment and hard work and effort. Yeah? Can we get a motion to adjourn? All right. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Not roll call vote?
Trustee Ahuna?
Aye.
Trustee Akaka?
Aye.
Trustee Akina?
Aye.
Trustee Alapa? Trustee Galuteria?
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay? Aye. Trustee Souza?
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e?
Yes.
Chair Kahele?
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes. We are adjourned.